Hello, beautiful soul. Let's channel some messages for you at 3 a.m. And your spirit guides just kept me awake because I wanted to sleep really early, but this was meant to happen. And I have received some messages, but also additional messages that are gonna come up. So let's see. Wow, thank you for being here. I really appreciate connecting with you. Like, truly an honor, you know? And yeah, my heart, big gratitude for just everything. Big gratitude. Subscribe to my channel if you're watching me on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram if you're watching me on Instagram. Thank you for booking sessions with me. Thank you for donating for me. My rent, my bills, and everything, link off, everything is in my bio. Okay, now, by the way, that was a gratitude in advance, like, yeah. Um, like spirit guides are inspiring me to share with you that we have to become somebody who is uplifting, like who is uplifting other people's spirit, because the way we have been brought up in the society, in the homes, in the environment, and especially all of our lineages, like if you look into your family matters and if you see your parents and their siblings and all the family, they're all, the way the relationships were by putting other people down. That's the like aura and the vibe that people, their own people, like within the family there is gossip around other family members. People are not creating loving and warming and comforting, safer environment for each other, but by indulging in gossip, by putting other people down, by speaking fear over their life. No, we don't have to do that. And there is like also this pattern of we can feel by feeling superior. We can feel good about ourselves by creating that inferior superior kind of structure. We have to step out of that. We have to step out of that way of thinking, that energy. How do we do that? By saying, like, God, I want to look at myself as you look at me. God, I want to look at this other person as you look at them. And God, I want to treat myself as you would treat me. I want to treat this other person as you would treat them. God, I want to, just look at them and treat them as you want to treat them, and look at them. I want to treat myself and think of myself as you would think of me. Yeah, this will really, this prayer is super powerful. Yeah, it internally, subconsciously, the way we are operating in the energy of competition, in the energy of jealousy, in the spirit of inferiority or superiority, all of these things. Okay, so saying this prayer, it cleanses, the way we are looking at others and treating others, or the way we are looking at ourselves and treating ourselves. Also, another message that I am receiving is Spirit is inspiring me to share that, for many, in the last 4 years, my fashion sense, my dress up sense have completely transformed. Okay. And when I was going through that transformation, I was wanting Indian wear because I thought that I always like and some people were saying like, okay, you should wear Indian, and I was also like that I should wear Indian so that people would like me more, my family would like me more. It wasn't like because I actually wanted to wear Indian. Bring magic in your life with my magic paintings. This painting says, dearest God, dearest Mother, thank you for guiding me. Thank you for leading my way. When you live around this painting, the way you start to move in this world very bravely, confidently, courageously, you would find yourself becoming most braver, bolder, confident version of yourself, and it's just so much divine guidance and peaceful energies into your life. Super powerful. Super. You can't miss the magic. You can't. I'm telling you, you cannot. Okay. Also, you can hire me and I will channel a customized magic painting uniquely for you. A painting that will bring lot of success, high vibrations, good energies, power, love, and like sacred, peaceful, pure energies into your life. It's so powerful. And Indian wear, I love it. I actually love it, but I didn't had any. Also, I didn't had the money to get any actually. And this is what the spirit guides wanted me to share, that how not having what we want is a blessing. Because if I had the money to get Indian wears, I would wear them and I would never come to understand how good I look in Western wear. I would never experiment with different kind of style, and I would never feel safer in my body. Because when I didn't had the money and I didn't get the Indian wears, I was just wearing with the clothes that I have very differently, my mini skirts and all of that I had purchased long ago. In the last 3-4 years, my shopping has been very low because I was just getting by with my food and my rent and my bills. I'd never had the extra money to shop and all. And if I did had the extra money, I would get my journal and my colors. And I'm not complaining because I always had good clothes. Always have, God took care of me. But not having extra money to get Indian wears actually helped me, because then I would just experiment with the clothes that I had, and I would every day. By the way, in the last 4 years, almost every day, I have wore something different. Like, I have repeated my clothes, of course, but not very often, very rarely, because God will, like this similar outfit that I'm wearing right now, I have already wore it like in 4 or 5 different ways, 4 or 5 different ways, just this. Okay. So yeah, so like there was it wasn't like that I was being deprived of that desire to dress up. I always had it. Okay. But because I didn't get the Indian wear, I couldn't buy them. I was experimenting with the clothes that I have, wearing them very differently. And then, because I grew up in a very sexual kind of environment, like wherein girls were looked at very sexually, their bodies were sexualized a lot. So, I was living very strictly in my body. So when I had the clothes like what I had, very Western clothes, and I would experiment with them, I would wear them differently, and take my dog out for a walk, wherein I know that people are who are walking around, they are looking at me. I just overcame that fear of being judged, you know and that was God training me in a very different manner. It wasn't like I did it by my choice, but it was like God did it. So I would wear whatever like inspiration I will receive, and then I will go take my dog out for a walk, and I know people are watching me. And then it became a training. God was training me to overcome that fear of judgment, how I was being perceived, and especially when gods and goddesses of creativity are inspiring me to do something and all of that. So creativity can be very vulnerable, to be seen as a beginner in whatever field, because when you are learning, a creativity will push you to get you out of your own judgment, push you to face your own judgment, you know so that started to happen. But if I had the money to get the Indian wear throughout in the last 3-4 years, I wouldn't have grown confident. I would still be wearing the clothes. I would still be living for validation, because I would be wearing clothes just to get liked, because people like Indian wear more. This, I would get judged. But yeah, it was very interesting how not having, uh, if I would have the money, I wouldn't have grown. I wouldn't have grown into my confidence. I wouldn't have grown into that internal strength to follow the inspirations that I am receiving, regardless of the fear of judgment. I wouldn't have gain that strength. Also, I wouldn't have gained this confidence and this new version of myself, new identity, wearing, dressing up differently than what I am expected to, or what even I want to actually, because so many days I didn't wanted to wear Western, because I thought like so many people will say like, this girl always wear that, always, all of those things. So I didn't wanted to dress up that way, but God was like, you will, you will. And I'm so grateful that it happened that way. And for some reason, Spirit was wanting me to share this with you. Yeah. And with food also, because I had limited money, I the way God trained me to eat healthier, so beautiful, you know. Um, yeah. If I would have a lot of money, I would have spent it on eating junk food. But yeah, anyway, another message that I'm receiving is letting go, like saying that I refuse to hold on to any perspective about myself that is rooted in shame or rooted in guilt. Because there will be moments in life where you will make mistake, okay? And then if you grew up in a very toxic family, they will literally brainwash you. The identity that they will form of you would be based on deep shame and guilt. Like, what kind of a girl are you, daughter are you, sister are you, what kind of a person are you, who does that, what kind of daughter behaves like that, what kind of son behaves like that, when you are doing that something that is right for you, or if you have made mistake. So their approach would not be coming from a compassionate place, like, hey, I know you have made a mistake, but it's okay, you didn't know better. We all make mistakes. They will not talk to you like that. They will talk to you like, you are such a shitty person, you're shitty daughter, you're shitty son, you're so stupid, you are a shame to the family and all of that. And that way we start to think of ourselves as that. As a child, our identity is formed how our parents are behaving with us, talking with us, and treating to us. So if we have a healthy parent who is listening to us, actually being present with us, actually validating us, actually being attentive to our emotional needs and acknowledging that, so we feel like, okay, yes, we matter. My parents listen to me, that means I matter. My parents acknowledges my feelings and honors them, that means my feelings matter. My parents see my talent, That means that my talents matter and the world needs my talent. But if we have received the opposite, like opposite could be, i'm I'm going through this very discomforting thing in my school, like maybe I'm suppose a child is going through sexual abuse, and they cannot come home and tell it to their parents, you know, and the child is going through it by themselves. This was me, by the way. I think I'm just giving my example, but anyway, so they will start to feel like that child, that my pain does not matter. I am not meant to be heard. I'm not meant to be supported. Or it does not have to be this big, but on a day to day basis, no, a child is not, their parents are not asking them, hey, how you're feeling? How was your day? Did you like that? What do you like eating? If they are not receiving that kind of connection and communication, genuine communication from a parent, that will also make a child feel that I don't matter, my feelings don't matter. And they will also, child will also not acknowledge, okay, I like this, I don't like this. Child will start to do that when their parents are, being questioning them, hey, what do you like, what kind of music do you like, what is your favorite color? So they also start to be curious, okay, what do I actually like, do I like this, do I like that, but if that is not happening, then child doesn't never discover their own talents, because you discover your own talents when you are curious, curiosity. So if there in your life nobody was curious about you, that is a very painful state actually. uh, Curious about you in a healthier manner. Okay, where was I lost the train of my thought, and the mosquitoes are biting me. Ah, where was I? Give me a moment. Give me a moment. Okay? I'm asking for a moment only. Yeah. Refusing to let go of any perspective that are rooted in shame and guilt. So, if for any reason, whether it's toxic parent, toxic teachers, toxic friends, or whatever was going on in life, or even if yes, there was incident wherein you genuinely made a mistake, okay, because of, it could be you didn't know better, it could be you didn't had the emotional strength, spiritual strength, it could be because you were struggling financially, whatever mistake you made or whatever reason, the shame should not be the part of your identity. Like the perspective that you are holding of yourself should never be rooted in shame. And you have to say, like, I refuse to let go of any perspective of myself that I am holding that are rooted in shame and guilt. Literally, and very assertive, that I refuse to let go of this perspective that is rooted in shame and guilt. Because, psychologically, manipulation, the psychological manipulation from the family, they will convince you that you are the shitty person. And in your mind, when that cycle is going on and you are going down into that loop of like, oh, I am a bad person, it's my fault, it's always like that, you literally have to become disciplined and reaffirm to yourself, I refuse to believe this perspective. And it will require inner strength from inside of you to break that cycle in your, that mental cycle of torture that you are creating for that has been installed inside of you, you know, because your parents were torturing you with their beliefs and whatever, and now it started to happen automatically. Because if your parents would be talking to you positively, you would have a positive self talk, but because they were talking to you in a very negative manner, you have this negative self talk, shame based, guilt based, manipulation based self talk, you know. And that, like, literally, that kind of self talk puts you in deep depression and darkness. So you would have to, like, have the courage and the strength in that moment to tell yourself, I refuse to believe this perspective about myself, because it is not true, because it is not, it is not true. Imagine you had a child and your child made that mistake, same mistake that you find yourself you have made, and you know about yourself, right? And you see your child going through the same thing, same mistake they have made, and same feelings they are feeling. What would your approach be? Would you go there and start to insult that child when they already realize, when they already, you know, were feeling very helpless? Would you go there and start to, like, literally insult them, banish them, or you would go and hug them, or you and tell them, like, hey, I know it is hard for you right now, so I just want to give you a hug right now, and slowly we will sort it out. I know you are not a bad person. I know in that moment you made that mistake because you didn't know better. You would show up for your child in a very kind and compassionate manner, not in a harsher manner. And that's what, so if anything in your mind that is not rooted in love, it's not true. It is not true. Any perspective that is not rooted in love, it is not true. It is not true. Any situation, you know, with my mom, when she was passing away and I didn't went and met her, or like when she got a cancer, she wanted me to come home and cook food for her, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go home. But I was like, okay, God, I want to go home. I want to be there by my mom. Again, I didn't have the money to travel, you know. And then she was passing away, and especially, like, I think 3 days before she passed away, 3-4 days before, she was in fear, you know, and she was afraid about, like, will she have the who will cook for her and all of that. And that's a chronic worry, because there were people, my sister, everybody was there, but she just wanted me there. And I thought, you know, when she passed away, I was in deep guilt. I was like, it's maybe if I was there, my mother would be alive. Maybe if I would have cooked for her, she would be alive. And I was feeling so guilty and so ashamed. And I went for a walk in nature, and it was literally like my mother's spirit, and like all the trees were telling me this perspective is not right. And then I remember, like, I told God that, God, I want to go to my mom, and I leave this situation to you. Whether should I visit home or not, whether you know, should I go and all of that, I leave it up to you. You take care. And I couldn't go home. You know, I couldn't go home. I couldn't see her. And after she passed away, that's when I got the clarity, because that I was being protected. I was being protected from going home, because if I would have gone home, I would have fallen back into the cycle of what every woman has fallen into, you know, of being in home. Because I'm a creative person. I'm a creative person. I need to be in an environment wherein I can express. I was not meant to be in village and be in just get lost in the house chores, and get married, and wherein a guy will have sex with me every night, with whether I'm happy or not. That's the cycle that everybody got trapped into in my family. Everybody, everybody. You know, so if I would have gone home, I would have completely gave up on my dreams, gave up on a hope that there could be something better for me. You know, yeah. So that's when, so when I was going into that guilt, no, that's when I received this bigger clarity from my spirit guides, from my mother's spirit, from my, just those trees and river bodies that I was sitting around. And it was completely dark. It was just like a very deep spiritual experience that I had. Um, I'm just, there was a very heavy topic. So anytime, whenever the grief, because grief happens in parts, the grief comes, this guilt comes, like, is it because of me my mother went away? Is it because, things like that? And then, I tell myself, I refuse to believe this perspective because it is not true. This is not true, you know and then I've received this kinder, compassionate perspective from her, from her spirit, from God, from Mother Earth. Yeah. And in some moments, even if in some moments it was your fault in certain situation, you still have to sit with that sensation of guilt long enough until you find love and compassion in that perspective. Sitting with it long enough is like, I refuse to believe that perspective. When that guilt is louder, you have to be loudest, even like, I refuse to believe this perspective because it is not true. It is not true. It is not true. Because even if you looked deeper into psychopaths, sociopaths, rapists, murderers, killers, if you look deeply into them, even Hitler, he created so much pain. And if you look into his history, look deep enough, the way he was treated growing up and discriminated, that anger pushed him into, created the kind of suffering that he was in mentally, emotionally throughout his childhood. He created that suffering in the world. So if you look deep enough into yourself, you will find compassion. You will find that. Book a one-on-one intuitive guidance session with me for deeper levels of support, in moving through pain, unworthiness, wound, shame, regret. My mentorship, 3 months of mentorship, 1 month of mentorship would be so powerful in acknowledging all of these shame-based identities and moving past them, in processing the shame, the guilt, the regrets, the limiting beliefs, and hence processing them, hence stepping into love, peace, power. And then what you will create in this world will be peaceful, power, healing. What you will create would be healing. Your existence in itself would be healing. Okay? So this work is really deep and sacred. And I am just like, God's building me up for that. And I didn't know when I started 2 years ago this journey. I didn't know where I will be led. And right now also, I know God is up to something beautiful. But it's just a blessing to be doing this work. It's truly a blessing. And yeah. So link of my, and also for psychic guidance and spiritual guidance, then you can book a shorter like my coaching over video call, you know, one session, or over voice note. Then you can, if you want psychic guidance and spiritual guidance in some area of your life. Yeah. And let me see if there is any other message, because something was coming up. Who was that? Something was coming up. My stomach is, you know, I think I need to pee. I need to pee, but I want to have this message. Anyway, I think it will come back when it will come back. Yeah. If this video was helpful, you can also donate for me, because that will be a fair exchange. Link of everything is in my bio. You can donate for my rent, food, electricity bills, and all of these things.